Everyone, this is Chandelf. Going to go over gear and attributes for more or less solo healing, whether it's in mutated runs or if it's going to be in Hive of Gorgons. It's kind of an all-around build. So if we're looking at gear, you should normally run featherweight for almost every single part of healing. It's ideal. Main reason you can have heavier gear in the rest of your slots. So I have heavy and heavy here, just basically boosting up that armor. Right now I'm running with Silken Litham, but you're gonna have to get done Worm. If you haven't done Worm, using a Hoplite Helm is normally going to be ideal. Enchanted Ward slash Conditioning and Health are going to be more or less your ideal perks all the way through. So next we have our featherweight at 725. Refreshing, physical aversion, those are two perks that come with it. I added slash conditioning, but hopefully you get a perfect roll and then it comes with that, or you could add health. Next up, Hoplite Gauntlets. I would recommend putting that on your Keen Beacon on a piece of your armor, whether it's your helmet, your pants, and or your boots. Enchanted Ward for that 4% damage from light and heavy attacks. Obviously, that's going to help, and the more health you have as a healer, because things tend to uh, aggro on yourself and tank, especially if there's spiders or ads, they're going to gravitate towards you because you're healing everybody. Next, we have our Hoplite Pants, 725, Enchanted Ward, Refreshing slash Conditioning. And then the Gorgon Sabaton. So freedom, refreshing, and health. Again, ideal perks. Main reason for your refreshing is just so that your cooldowns can keep coming back. So if we're using basically beacon or sacred, or even Splash of Light, it basically is going to bring it down faster, and especially if you're hitting the target with light attacks, it's going to bring that down substantially. Next up, we have the Hoplite Life Staff. If you don't have the Hoplite Life Staff, what you can use is the Living Mind. You just buy it from the Cutlass Keys fountain. It is definitely an ideal life staff, especially if you're using Divine Embrace, but overall you should be using the Hoplite Life Staff. There is plenty on the trading post, does make a big difference. Um, Next up, Duneborn Void Gauntlet. This one is going to be your ideal, but a lot of people have had good results with the, if you don't have that, most people are going to be using either the Life Taker and or the, let's pull it up here. Sorry, the Fracture or the Life Taker. It's kind of indecisive. Like, some people are saying go for the Life Taker, and then some are saying go for the other one. I think that's just up to yourself whether or not you would like that. You're gonna want to put Disdain Infliction on that. I personally like the Life Taker. I didn't really use a Fracture. I have noticed quite a bit of people using the Fracture over the Life Taker, but again, that is going to be personal preference. When in Hive, first boss, you're likely going to be wanting to use the um, Cunning Heart Rune of Cannon Blast. Does make a big difference, at least for putting up to like 17 to 20,000 damage on when the boss gets down and has his back showing. But ideally, what you're going to be using for the rest of it is going to be, especially for ad phases and as healer to get away, is going to be the um, Brutal Heart Rune of Grasping Vines. That makes a huge difference if someone's coming after you or if you're in the clump, especially as a solo. You're going to be in that clump with everybody as a solo healer. Putting down the vines is going to keep everything clumped in and make a big difference so that you're not getting attacked. Next, just use a standard hoplite amulet, nature protection, health. And then for Gorgon's Ring, normally as a healer, you're going to want Healing Breeze, Hardy, and Sacred. And then for the Hoplite Earring, I have Refreshing on mine, and then Refreshing Toast and Healing Heart Rune. So every time you're using Heart Rune, because you're using that quite often, it's just going to add a little bit of extra health to you. For my hotkeys, I use the potions, Mana Potion, Oak Flesh Bomb, and then the Infused Regeneration. Powerful Oak Flesh, it is pretty good, especially in Hive, just because if like we're playing Life and Typhon, everything's coming after you, just pop that, you're going to take a lot less damage. Next up, we're going to go over the attributes. So it comes to that, what I normally do, and I've done so many Hive of Gorgons. Basically, a lot of people will say, "Oh, you know what? I'm healer. I don't need much health." Great, but I see them getting down all the time. If you just go for a 150 for Constitution, your job is to heal. It's not to do damage, although doing damage does make a big difference. A lot of people will put 50, maybe 100 Constitution and then throw the rest Intelligence, while the Magnify relies in Focus. You don't need to be over 350. It's just current stats are showing over 350 at 377. Works for me. I'm not going to change it, especially with new season coming out. I'll normally use an intelligence food for a plus 44 to a plus 48, and then bump this up. At least going to be getting the 10% base damage to light and heavy elemental attacks. Overall, again, your job is to heal, and it isn't to do damage, but any type of damage you're doing is obviously going to make a difference. So I'll leave that as is. When using light staff, I have two different builds. One, it is dependent on what you like to do and how you like to do it. I've seen a couple different healers going for, let me put up here. So this is my build. I use this one quite a bit. This one, you're using the Sacred Ground. This is extremely effective just due to the fact that it's going to help the tank. It's going to have the most amount of heals when you are healing the group as a whole. You heal an ally below 50% health, life staff abilities cooldowns are reduced by 10%. The more heals you have, the biggest difference it will make towards your team. When you hit with a light attack, reduce life staff ability cooldowns by 5%. I was kind of talking about that earlier, but if you're hitting any ad or boss with any light attacks, it goes down super quick. You can basically cast a beacon and a sacred, and then while they're still up, you can cast them again. Obviously, making the first one go away, but just basically makes it so you have never ending heals. And then with Splash of Light being your shortest cooldown, it makes quite a big difference in that regard. So just keep casting that, but that only goes towards your group. So if you're group one, group two, it will only say I'm in group one, it will only work towards group one. Well, anointed. So while allies are in sacred ground, they gain 50% increased healing from non-consumables and lifesteal healing sources. Sacred protection while holding this life staff increase the amount of healing from non-consumables and lifesteal healing sources to all friendlies in your group by 10%. Been kind of indifferent about this. I don't know if I'm going to keep this in the near future, but using that right now. Intensify when you hit with a heavy attack, gain stacking 10% bonus to outgoing healing effectiveness for 10 seconds. And Divine Blessing, when you heal an ally below 50%, they're healed for 30% more. That is definitely going to be your key right there. So And next we have our beacon. Beacon, you just cast it on either an area and or a person and it will follow them, versus sacred is just a circle on the ground. So you can't move with this, but it's really good for clumps if people are on a specific ad area. And then splash the lights. The radius is huge. You can basically be on one side of hive in an arena and then still get your teammates. So it makes a pretty big difference there. And I'll show you what those look like right after this. So we're going to use beacon. Say I'm going to be healing this person right here. And cast on them. If they start moving, that beacon is going to follow them. Makes quite a big difference. Say I have a huge clump, I can actually move this. If someone was in my group, I could also use my scroll wheel and then cast on them, or I can cast on myself. So if you're in the big groups, it makes a big difference because, like, say there's a huge ad phase, I'll just cast it right here. At that point, swaps a void and then just go for the damage. Might cast beacon, and then if my group, your stronger group will always be in group one. The people you don't want dying, your Renbot, your bleed, your tank, the item or the roles that you necessarily can't heal or have a form of block. So that's where I'll use Splash of Light, heal all of my group one, makes quite a big difference. Next, we're going to be using the Annihilation category. I use every single item in here. Feel free to read through it. I'm not going to go over that right now. But normally what I will do um, is going to be using your Oblivion. Makes quite a big difference because when you're using Oblivion, it grants empower to self, and friendly is increasing by 15%. That's a huge amount, especially when you're with everybody. If people need a roll and you have those perks as well, granting that 25% stam bonus, that will make a difference if people need to roll out of a scenario. So putting that whenever there's a clump, just to grant you that empower, I always go for the void sword, go in for damage, quite a bit of light attacks are thrown in there, and then if I'm running around and an ad is following me, you're going to use scream, and that's going to actually stun them. So that makes quite a big difference. Just in the sense that if your heart rune, right here, if your heart rune isn't active because the cooldown uh, is waiting to build up, it will make that difference to keep you alive when you need it. Other than that, that should be about it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out and I will assist you with that.